Welcome to California State University here in Bakersfield. My name is Kamala, Kruszka, and I direct the Theater for Young Audiences tour. And we are really happy today that you are here to see Dust Bowl Dreams. Now, before we get started, I wanted to see if anybody is here today that could say this show is the very first play that they are seeing in their entire life. Oh, we're all veteran theater goers. Or we're not willing to admit it. Well, I always like to welcome those people because being a theater goer means you don't go once, you keep going, right? Because every time, every story, every play is going to be a different experience. But since you're all veterans, then you probably already know some great things that we can do as an audience to make sure that everybody has a good time. What's something we can do, friends? Oh yes, respond to the show. Please don't sit like a bunch of mummified people.
Or go to sleep.
Yeah, well, you know, that's okay too. But theater is intended to be live because we want to hear your responses. So yes, there's good noise and there's bad noise. Good noise is anything that has to do with the show. Laughing, clapping, cheering, saying, wow, you're cool, all of that, okay? Bad noise is, where are we going to eat? Okay? That's stuff that we can talk about later. What's something else that we can do during the play to make sure everybody has a good time?
Turn off phones.
Yes, turn off your phones, no photos, no texting, no video. We're filming it ourselves and you can buy that later. Now, actually those sort of things didn't exist in 1935, and the context of this show is that you are actually with us camping out for the night on the side of Route 66, so let's go back in time before cellular phones existed. Anything else? Hopefully you're here to have a good time.
Read the book.
Oh, okay. Read the Grapes of Wrath. That's helpful. Okay. I don't know that I'm expecting these ones to.
Yeah, exactly.
But I want you guys to have a good time today. Okay. So everybody, please sit back, relax, and have a good time. Enjoy Dust Bowl Dreams.
You've all heard the story of old Sunny Cal, the place where it never rains. They say it don't know how. You can sleep out there every night. You hear the people say the moon is always shining, almost as bright as day. They say, come on, you Okies, work is easy found. You can bring along your cotton sacks, you can pick the whole year round. Make your money every night and spread your blankets down. It's always bright and warm, you can sleep out on the ground.
Dust been blowing come now for about a year and a half. My husband Arvin decided we'd best take our chances and head out to California. Work was plenty and there weren't no end to that dust, no way. So we packed up and traveled out. Arvin, though, caught terrible cold last month and left us for Heaven's Gates. Now me and my youngest is making our way out there on our own. We sure as can't go back, and now heading forth is all we got. That and each other.
I've been ranching in Amarillo since I was a kid. Since the dust though, most of the cattle had died, or we had to sell them because we had no way to feed them. My boss finally let me go, so as I could find work where work can be had.
My husband Brent and I have been sharecropping in Arkansas for now on 8 years. Doing good so far, but lately we ain't had no rain to pay the bills. We lost all our money invested in planting soybeans last year, and now we so broke. So we head to California. Farmhands needed, work is plenty, and from what I hear, California is as green as the Garden of Eden.
Peaches, pears, tomatoes, potatoes, beans, apples, and oranges all need to be picked, lest they fall off the vines and trees and rot into the ground. And there's so much you never starve, just eat and eat while you pick it. Clear skies, sunshine, work. Lots of work.
I'm just trailing along like the tail of a cat, following my people where they go. Some nights, a boxcar is my bed. Others, I just sleep under the stars. This great nation of ours is going through some big changes. I want to hear what my friends are seeing and feeling, so I can put it down into words for us all. They say dreams come true in California. Well, I don't know if that's all fact, but I'm going to find out for myself.
Well, stranger, haven't been around so much. Maybe you got a good story or two for us to hear.
Well, my stories all come in songs, but I think I got one that just might touch on what y'all are feeling right about now. I just run in and I got them dust bowl blues. I just run in and I got them dust bowl. I just run in and blow back out again. I guess you've heard about every kind of blues. I guess you've heard about every kind of blues. Oh, and dust is high, can't even see the skies. I see the wind so like I couldn't see a thing. I see the dust so like I couldn't see a thing. And when some old boy did cut your water off, see the wind so high it blew my fences down. I see the wind so high it blew my fences down. Buried my tractor 6 feet underground. These dusty blues are the dustiest ones I know. These dusty blues are the dustiest ones I know. Every can of wheels in my gold dust, and I packed up and go, and I just loaded, and I soon blow out again.
That dust to nearly everything we had. Our fields, our animals.
Not to mention our jobs.
Before that dust, we're happy as all get out.
Well, that dust is more powerful than anyone could have guessed. Sometimes it's just the mercy of Mother Nature's hand.
Gee, feller, that song gets me thinking. If I could, I would take that dusty wind and make it obey me.
Now how's that?
Oh, that out of sheer will and grit, I would make that wind do my asking.
Well, darling, there was a girl I heard about could do just that.
You reckon so?
Sure. Her name was Sally Ann Thunder Ann Whirlwind.
Sally Ann Thunder Ann Whirlwind. That's what the name.
Well, she was quite the child. It was more than 200 years ago when Sally Ann Thunder Ann Whirlwind came into this world. The Whirlwind family had 9 boys already, but there was a brand new daughter.
I am Sally Ann Thunder Ann Whirlwind, and I am amazing.
Ooh, all right, little dynamites, you are amazing.
Listen here, brothers. Anything any of you can do, I can do better. Ha!
Come here.
Naturally, her brothers didn't believe her. After all, she was only a baby. But Sally Ann was even more amazing than even she thought she was. By the time she was 1, she could run faster than a wildcat.
Here, kitty, kitty, honey.
By the time she was 4, she could beat a bear wrestling. And when she was 7, she could beat all them brothers in a tug-of-war contest.
Yeah, come on, Sally, let's go. Ready, set, go.
She was tough.
Yeah.
She was sassy.
Say what?
She was pretty too.
Now come on, y'all.
she was just as sweet as honey. She was so sweet, the bees let her wear her nest for her Sunday goings to church hat. But even though Sally was such a sweetheart, she didn't like folks to call her that.
Oh, Sally, you're so sweet.
Don't call me sweetie. I can outgrin and outrun and outlive you and outsweet and outsneeze and outlie and outtug any old skip from Maine to Louisiana.
You got that right.
At the age of 8, when Sally was all grown up, she decided it was time to go off and see the world.
I'm off to see the world. Goodbye.
And at that, she went off on her own 2 feet to go explore the wild frontier. That first winter was so cold, she settled herself into a cave of hibernating bears. That first spring, when Papa Bear awoke.
Now how can you be mad at little old me? I just your old legs need a little fancy dancing after all that sleeping. Take that partner, take him to town, don't see you going round and round. Push him in the hay bale, push him in the store, depends on the line, which is yours. Okay then, bye.
Well, time went on, and Sally remained an independent woman until one spring she was traveling through the wilds, and she came upon a hickory tree and saw something strange. It was a man's head stuck there. He was wearing a coonskin cap, and stuck as never before.
Well, hey there, stranger. You look a little bit uncomfortable there. What you trying to do, anyhow?
Well, darling, you see, I was up here scouting a bear when I lost my grip, slipped near down, and got my neck lodged in this here tree.
So, what you call yourself, anyhow?
Crockett, Davy Crockett. Maybe you've heard of that song that they made up about me. Born in a mountaintop in Tennessee, greenest state in the land of the free, lived in the woods so he knew every tree. Killed him a bear when he was only 3. Davy
Well,
died.
yes, Mr. Crockett, sir, I do know you and your song. So, how long you planning to stay up in that hickory tree?
I might stay longer, but now that you come by, I'd really love to get out.
Do not despair, Mr. Crockett. I'll get you out of there in the shake of a bobcat's tail.
So Sally spotted a nest of rattlesnakes beside that tree. Before you know it, she got to knotting those snakes together, and she made herself a lasso, which she threw up into that branch, pulled that tree apart, and freed old Davy.
Well, Mr. Crockett, let's get married.
All right.
So big. Quite the happy family, too. Once they had the first youngin', Hardstone, Davy had to go off to leave to be a representative in Washington.
Well, it just goes to show, if you put your name in the hat, anyone can be a congressman. Now, darling, I'm sorry I have to go, but someone's got to get this government working right. I got my gun in my hat. I'm ready to go. Now, you take care of little Hardstone, and I'll be back in no time.
But that night, Sally was in for the surprise of her life. It seemed that all the alligators for miles around heard about the fierce little lady and how she was able to best nearly everyone. And they were swimming over there to get her baby boy. But Sally was even more ornery than a mama grizzly, and she was ready for those gators.
Woo-wee! All right, you gators. You think you're going to have my try another hush puppy? Well, you got another thing coming.
And at that, Sally picked up each one of those gators by the tail. One by one, she spun in a circle until she was able to toss those people clear across the Mississippi, clear from Minnesota to New Orleans.
That'll teach you to mess with the toughest, fastest, cleverest, and sweetest frontier gal you'll ever meet.
And now, my dears, is the story of Sally Ann, Thunder Ann, Whirlwind. I'm going down this old dusty road. I'm going down this old dusty road. I'm where the dust will never go. I'm going where the dust will never go. I'm going where the dust will never go. Oh Lord, and I ain't gonna leave it with you. They say I'm the dust will never you. They say I'm the dust will never you. Oh Lord, and I ain't gonna treat it this way.
Well, it sure is nice to get to moving a bit more. Sitting in that truck all day makes you tired.
Stop hoofing alongside the side of the road. My feet are plumb worn out.
Not to mention my sides aching from the bumpity bump of that truck bed.
Funny, I used to work all day and never complained from my aching. But all this wandering does make a man tired.
Tired and ready to just sit and wait it out. Shoot.
Of course, there are those who were quite busy whilst just sitting around.
How you figure that?
Well, son, you remember all about Brer Rabbit.
Brer Rabbit? Who's he?
He's just about the trickiest creature you could ever lay eyes on.
You better hope he don't end up in your picking crew because he will find a way to make you do all the work and for him to have all the credit.
Is that so?
Looks like we got to school these folks. So let's see here. Let me tell you the story of Brer Rabbit and the house that he and the animals built, and you can decide for yourself. Well then, it turned out one time that a whole lot of creatures took a notion that they were going cahoots and built themselves a house. Of course, Brer Rabbit was there, and Brer Bear was one of them.
This one right
That was Rabbit. And there was Brer Wolf, and Brer Fox, and Brer Possum. And it may even have been that old Brer Mink was there too. At any rate, there was a whole parcel of them. They whirled in, they did, and they built that house in less than no time. Brer Rabbit, though, he says he gets dizzy climbing ladders and can't stand to work out in the sun, so instead, he finds himself a ruler and stuck a pencil behind his ear and went around measuring and marking, measuring and marking. And he looked so busy, the other animals said,
Brer Rabbit is doing a monstrous side of work.
Yet the whole time, Brer Rabbit ain't doing nothing. The other creatures, they built that house. Boy, she was a farmer too. Had rooms enough for all the animals who went in cahoots and helped to make it. Brer Rabbit, though, he picked out one of the upstairs rooms and went and got himself a gun and a cane. Then he made himself a nasty batch of slop water.
Now, let's see here. Muddy bucket gunk. Ha. Leftover gravy drippings. Slap. The slop from the tobacco spittoon. Ha. Ha. And a nice dash of stinky swamp water.
Well, after dinner, all the other creatures were being sociable and as you please downstairs. But Brer Rabbit, he makes his way upstairs and calls out to him.
Well, when a big man like me wants to sit down, where's he gonna sit?
If a big man like you can't sit down in the chair, he better sit down on the floor.
Well, watch out down there then, because I'm gonna sit.
And bang! Went Rabbit's gun.
Oh, wow! Lord, the name of gracious is that? Well, when a big man like me wants to sneeze,
There's too many hungry people out there.
So, once the others got their hair all smoothed out, they began to carry on again.
Well, when a big man like me wants to take a chew of tobacco, where's he gonna spit?
Big man or little man, spit where you please. That's what I'm saying.
That's the way a big man spits.
And at that, Brer Rabbit poured out that stinky slot water on the animals below.
Now that's more like it.
Rabbit, he just took and shut himself up in the house and fastened all the windows. He went to bed, he did, and pulled the covers up around his ears, and he slept like a man who didn't owe nobody nothing. If the others were going to get scared and run away from their own house, what business was that of his? And so Brer Rabbit, he went to sleep, he did.
Of Americans. I am a Texas cowboy, born and bred.
A Texan, I might have guessed.
You know, friend, the old saying is some of us are lucky enough to be born Texan, and the rest of us go wishing they were. No, really, the most famous Texan of all time is responsible for the whole landscape of this here Western world. And he was a cowpoke too. Talk about taming the wind, what Pecos do even tame a tornado.
You don't say.
I wouldn't be making this stuff up now, would I? You see, Pecos Bill was born to a frontier family, and they was so busy out pioneering that they didn't notice when little Bill fell from the back of the family wagon.
Whoa!
Right there in the middle of Texas territory. You'd think a spud like that would get eaten up right quick, but not Bill. He was taken in by family coyotes and grew up as one of their own. And Bill was out scampering about, he was met up by a dude.
Hey there, fella. What you doing running around with no clothes on?
I'm no fella. I'm a coyote.
Oh, come on now. You ain't no coyote. You's a Texan.
Hallelujah. A Texan? Hallelujah.
And with that, the old man gave Bill some of his old duds, and Bill found himself working alongside other cowboys. You could say, though, he perfected that life. Bill made his lasso out of a rattlesnake and gathered all them steers to make the first cattle drive to Kansas. But a strong man like Bakersfield needed a strong horse, and there was only one that no one could seem to tame. His name was the Widowmaker. The Widowmaker was a horse like no other. He had lightning in his hoofs, and nitroglycerin in his legs. Boom! Boom! Oh, Bill saw Widowmaker and roped him tight.
Come here, horsey.
And after 40 days and nights of trying to buck Bill off his back, Widowmaker had decided he had met his match. They became best of friends. Horse and man, and set off to meet even bigger challenges. In fact, they became the original storm chasers.
Yeah!
Bill was afraid of no tornado, no wow. In fact, he decided he was going to tame one himself.
You know, friend, I think I'm about ready for some real fun. Next tornado, I'm gonna run it out of its zone. Yeah!
And with that, the biggest tornado that Texas had seen began to twist and away. Uprooting trees, throwing houses, and causing all sorts of trouble. And what Bill, he just laughed and lassoed that tornado, hopped on and rode it like a bucking bronco. That cyclone ripped through Arizona into the Grand Canyon.
Pretty.
The cyclone pulled the water from the Gulf of Mexico and Bill burned it all the way to Utah, where it set it down. Sploosh! To make the Great Salt Lake. And finally, the cyclone went so low that it took Earth far below to make the Great Death Valley. And without warning, that cyclone went up onto the sky, higher and higher, with Bakersfield still riding on it. They say Bill hasn't come down yet, but from time to time, you can still hear him up in the clouds, whooping it up, reminding us all that we can tame tornadoes too. We just put our heart into it. That's my song. The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. The prairie sky is wide and high, deep in the heart of Texas. The sage in bloom is like perfume,
Deep in the heart of Texas, reminds me of the one I love. Deep in the heart of Texas, the cowboys cry, Kia! Deep in the heart of Texas, the bandits rush around the brush. Deep in the heart of Texas, the coyotes wail along the trail.
in the heart of Texas.
The doggies ball
And ball and ball. Okay, guys. Deep in the heart of Texas. The hardest part of moving is leaving the place you love.
Nothing's harder than leaving the land you spent so much time working and living on.
Only to see it taken up by some strangers who don't care for it no how.
In California, I'm going to strike it rich. Then I can go back to Texas and buy me a proper ranch.
You best hope you got yourself a doodle bug to get you that.
A doodlebug?
Sure, did you never heard of a doodlebug? They wiggle and squeal in your hand.
Pushing you to the left and right till it points straight down in the ground.
Right on top of a pot of gold.
That's right.
Well, how am I supposed to come across one of them things?
You could take up with some miners. They fashion out of all sorts of things, rings and springs and steel. Or you could hope to meet the mysterious traveler.
Well, this sounds promising.
Now everyone knows that no good miner is going to go out looking for gold without their trusty doodlebug to show them the way. But did you know that them doodlebugs they make out of bits and pieces is just a try at making a copy of the original fantastic doodlebug? Oh yeah. You see, legend has it a young miner from Oklahoma was trying to stake his claim out in the hills. He had spent all his money, all his supplies had run out, and he was making a last-ditch try at the supply depot to see if he could trade anything he had for one last parcel of food and pigs to make one last go.
Well, I don't know, Levi. You don't have much of value here that anyone might be interested in. I just don't know that I can help you.
Well, what about my watch? It was my grandpappy's. It was lost in the Arizona desert prospecting. They called him the Lost Dutchman. I was reluctant to let go of it, but seeing it being the end of my rope, I'm willing to see her go.
Well, does it work?
Not so much.
I'm sorry, Levi.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir?
I couldn't help but overhear that you had something that belonged to the Lost Dutchman.
Yep, Hap and Johns went into the desert and never came back.
Well, perhaps I could help you. You say the watch doesn't work.
No, sir.
Well, I'd like to fashion something out of it. In return, I can give you a very special helper, let's say.
Helper?
Sure. This helper is quite talented at finding gold.
You're kidding me.
No, indeed. In fact, my helper just helped me strike it rich over in the hills of chocolate. I'd be willing to lend it to you for a spell. If it doesn't work out, you bring back the box, and I return the watch.
You're awfully willing to let it go. What aren't you telling me?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all. See? Look into the box yourself.
And Levi looked in that box and saw the most unusual creature.
It had a golden head with 8 eyes.
A body like a centipede with 100 legs.
And a tail like a rat with a rattle and gnaw.
And it moved like...
What is this remarkable creature?
That, friend, is a doodlebug.
Doodlebug? How's it going to help me?
You just take this feller out into the middle of your claim, and at 3 a.m., it'll do the rest for you.
And if it doesn't work, I give it right back.
Right. But you have to bring it back just as you got it. Right there in the box.
Well, I can do that.
And so, Levi set out with the doodlebug to his claim. As the sun set, the box started to rustle and buckle. But Levi didn't peek. That doodlebug was a mighty bit unnerving. He waited a bit until the moon was in just the right place. And then he opened the box, 3 a.m. And then, without warning, as the moonlight hit that box, the doodlebug began to jump and jive. Before you knew it, the doodlebug was dancing its way all over the place. The doodlebug grabbed her hand. It shook and shook, and all of a sudden it dove into the ground, kicking up dirt like a giant gopher. As the ground began to move under Levi's feet, they were sure he'd fall clear through. And then, in a flash, a box was thrown from the hole the bug had dug. And landed in front of Levi. Then the bug fell silent.
Okay, Bug. Let's see what you got here. Oh my, a Wells Fargo box. Are you kidding me?
And Levi opened the box and found that it was...
Gold! Gold! At least 1,000 pieces! Woo! I'm rich! Yeah! Woo, woo, woo.
He had certainly struck it rich!
Well, Bug, looks like you paid out right quick. Woo! Oh, but you're huge now. If I'm ever gonna get my watch back, I gotta get you back in the box. Gosh, Bug, what am I gonna do with you? Now, hold on, Bug. What do you want from me?
You see, the one thing that old prospector didn't tell Levi was that the doodlebug could find gold because the doodlebug was hungry for gold. More hungry than a bear after a long winter's nap.
This right Here you go. Just one, that's good.
Well, if I knew what that Goobuggus found nearly every coin in that treasure chest. And when the Goobuggus belly was full, it settled itself back in the box and fell quiet again.
Well, at least you left me a few coins. I guess I could buy something with that. Gee, Bug, what in the world are you about?
I see you're bringing the box back.
You didn't tell me it was going to eat gold.
A minor detail. You got what you needed, right?
I guess so. Enough to buy me the food and the supplies I need for another go.
And that's all you really had to get. Now isn't it?
I guess you're right. What about my watch?
Well, it's right here, but it ain't quite the same. You see, I knew your granddaddy when I began my prospecting days. He helped me out quite a bit. This watch can help you, but not in the way that he left it. So, I made you your very own Jitterbug. It works the same way as the one in the box.
You mean it's going to eat gold?
No, but it'll find you just enough to keep food in your belly, keep a clean shirt in your pack, and make you grateful for the days you have left to see.
Well, I guess that's all I really need.
You see, friends, striking it rich is about having more than you could ever hope to have. It's about having what you need, when you need it, and knowing you're blessed to have just that.
I think that's all we want in California. An honest wage for honest work.
A safe place to sleep.
Warm food on your plate.
And a clean shirt in your pack.
School to go to and learn to read and write.
A roof that doesn't leak or blow dust.
And people to share it with.
There's a whole lot for us all in this country. We just got to remember that there is enough to share. To make room for everyone who wants to be a part of this America. As I was walking that ribbon of highways, I saw above me the endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. The sun comes shining as I was strolling. The wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling. The fog was lifting, a voice comes chanting. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Everybody!
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. The redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for coming out to see us. At this time, we would like to introduce ourselves.
Hi, my name's Ariel Clark.
I'm Kara McDonald.
I'm Charlotte Fitzgerald.
I'm Jonathan Frigilana.
I'm Michael Moore.
Shay Tildell.
And I'm Joaquin Calderon.
So, if anyone has any questions about the show they just saw, either character, cast, set, costumes, anything you're wondering about, feel free to raise your hand and we will answer them right now. Yeah.
I was hoping you were going to tell a little bit of the Grapes of Wrath story.
Well, that's the playwright's choice, and I'm the playwright.
But of course, this was the camp. You know, they were on their way.
Right.
That's it. That's wonderful.
Oh, it was a hard journey. I got food right here. It's very hard. Very hard.
Yeah, I thought she was more good.
Any other questions? Back there?
Thank you for a wonderful performance.
Oh, you're very welcome.
How long does it take to go from the play, the original play, to getting it together and acting it out for everybody? How long did it take you?
We've actually been rehearsing all quarter, so it's about 10 weeks now.
Are you all students at CSU?
Yes.
Great.
But we're not all theater majors.
Is there a question back there?
Question back there?
No, just recreation.
The man's there like,
Well, just kidding.
Tell us about you're taking this on the road next quarter. What's the?
Oh, wow.
Well, we rehearse all winter quarter, and then we go on spring break, and then we come back during the spring quarter. We actually go perform at different elementary schools all throughout Bakersfield. So every Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay, let's find someone with a shirt and all over the
Some of you kids might actually see us at your school sometime next month.
CSUB produces a play for young audiences every year. We premiere it during the winter quarter, and then we go on tour every spring. So if you do belong to the school that you think would like to bring us in, I usually book the shows September and October. So you can get in touch with me now, and it's basically first come, first serve as far as booking, and then the price is very affordable and reasonable. And our whole goal is to bring theater to people who don't get theater, and I think that happens a lot here in Kern County. We deserve more theater, and that's what we try to do, bring that to kids.
Any more questions?
is he or
You stretching too?
Stretching.
They
did the science thing.
Well, we're gonna hang out for a little bit. If anybody wants to take any pictures or anything, so you're more than welcome to come up. Thank you for coming.
We've got 2 more shows tomorrow, and then the week leading up to Easter, we're going to be at the Southwest Library and the Beale Memorial.